On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino, we give our top five OU players that need to crush winter workouts. Then in FGTB, we recap OU's loss to A&M and talk about how Jalen Williams should be an all-star. Then we give you our winners and losers of the week. Please download and subscribe to the podcast. Rate it 5 stars and write us a good review. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search Oklahoma Breakdown on any of those, and you'll find us. All right, our man Michael Hosty will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. It's a beautiful Wednesday, January 29th, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and there are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack match roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and tarts. And to learn more about their gaming promotions and entertainment options, all you got to do is visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards, and computer troubles are fun.
Oh my gosh.
You okay, man?
Breathe, relax. Everything's going to be okay.
We are
Man,
recording this 30 minutes later than we planned, which is a record. Is everything all right? I just want to make
well,
sure maybe we're going to get the best version of you because of the computer issue.
yeah, I'm fully awake, okay, and ready to roll. Yeah, the blood pressure rising, getting a little hot, angry. Just got to relax and breathe.
Still no news about linebacker coach, defensive coordinator. Clearly, once that happens, we will discuss it thoroughly on here. But until that happens, let's talk about the team. Let's talk about the
Yeah.
roster. And this is something we've done the last couple of years. Spring practices starts in 5 weeks. So, who are the top 5 players that need to crush winter workouts for the Oklahoma Sooners? And Ted, I think a good place to start is what happens in winter workouts. Like what's the goal of winter workouts? Why are they so important in your mind? I think in both of our minds, winter is really, really critical. I actually think it's the most important when it comes to developing strength and toughness for your football team. Is that I assume that's how you see it.
Yeah, yeah. The summer is, heavy conditioning stuff and you're lifting weights and getting strong as well, but the winter is where you really spend a little bit more time in the weight room. It gets heavy. That's whenever you're hoping the majority of your guys put on. Like if guys are needing to add weight, this is the time of the year to really do it. And it's tough. Season's a long time away. It's a grind. But it's every portion of the season is important. And I always say the race starts right now, right, towards getting better and putting your best foot forward as a football team. This is where young guys that need to gain, maybe guys that were injured for a portion need to get healthy and get caught up in some of the stuff that they've been behind in strength and conditioning. And then, you're also going to have guys, we had several guys that had surgeries and stuff, and you can't get lost in the monotony of rehab. You got to stay focused and make the gains where you can while being safe and not having setbacks with your rehab.
Winter is all about lifting and grinding.
Yep.
Coaches stations super early in the morning. At some point, you're going to do a tug of war against another man, but it's all the fun stuff, and I believe it's really where you see what guys can function at a high level while they're suffering. That's
Yeah.
how I always kind of viewed it. So let's get into our list, and we have not compared lists. Who is your first guy on your list of the top 5 players that need to crush winter workouts?
Well, after our interview with Curtis Lofton, and I asked him who a guy to watch is, and he said Danny Okoye. the antenna went up. You know, I've really liked what I've seen. He's young, obviously raw talent, but he's got some really incredible physical traits. You know, as those edge guys, you know, a lot of those guys are lean, and you're really like we've seen in this conference, you got to have some size on the edge against those big tackles, those physical running games. Put some size on and, you know, start to show. I mean, that's the other thing that we didn't really mention. You're kind of wiping the slate clean as far as who the main standouts or leaders of your football team are as guys graduate and rotate out. You know, this is a chance to stand up and prove to the players around you, the coaching staff, that you can be a dependable guy. And, you know, I'm very optimistic about Danny Okoye.
He has to be a contributor.
Yep.
He has to get to where he needs to get physically from a strength perspective to where he can hold up in the run game. There is no doubt that he can help as a pass rusher. You have to watch that guy for about 2 snaps to realize, hey, he moves a little differently than everyone else out there.
He's a fast twitch. He's got great get off, great speed. But you're right. I mean, if you're going to find what your weakness is for him, it's going to be the technique, the pad level, and just the size and strength to hold up.
It sounds like he has the proper amount of screws loose as well,
Yes.
which is what you want. But I agree, man. Massive winner for Danny Okoye. Still looking for that guy. We know our Mason Thomas is going to be on one edge. Who's the other guy? Or is it a situation where, hey, Okoye can be our Mason Thomas's backup, and there's very little drop off at that position if Okoye gets to the level that he should get to in year 2? We'll see, but I think that expectations are extremely high.
No, he looks like the first thing you got to do is you got to look like a guy, and he looks like a guy. You know, just has a great build, long arms, and yeah, just it's you know you got the freshman year out of the way where you're allowed to make some mistakes and maybe not know what you're doing out there. Now it's time to really focus in on the football stuff whenever they get opportunities for that, but really take some pride in getting bigger and faster and stronger.
I'm taking the low hanging fruit with my first one. Give me John Mateer,
Yeah.
highest paid guy on the team, quarterback, and everyone is expecting him to come in and be the leader and help fix what this offense was. And there's a big leadership piece to it. You have to go out and crush winter workouts and earn everyone in the locker room's respect. While you put up huge stats at Washington State, like this is a different group of guys. You have to come in and prove yourself. And it sounds like that is absolutely what he is doing. Been told that he is a workout warrior for, as far as quarterbacks come. And the dude is wired the way that you want your quarterback to be wired. Also been told that the wide receivers love the way he throws the football. Very catchable ball is how it was described. And I think the biggest difference is his timing on some things. Ball's coming out before the break is even made. Like it sounds like that the timing is crisp, the anticipation is there, and the wide receiver group as a whole has been very impressed. And that's also a part of what he has to accomplish in winter. You got to develop the chemistry with the receivers. You got to develop the chemistry with the offensive linemen. It's a whole new group of guys, and you have to develop those relationships. It's not just about going out and playing ball at a high level. There is a personal piece to putting together a really good football team and putting together a really good offense. And John Mateer has to navigate all of that this winter. And it sounds like up to this point, it's going very, very well for him.
Yeah. You know, the mentality change a football team has whenever you've got a quarterback that everyone trusts, everyone respects, believes in. I mean, just speaking on the defensive side, you don't want to play defense with anxiety. Like, oh my God, we have to get a stop. Oh my God, we have to get the ball back. You want to play it with confidence. And a lot of that comes from what does the other side of the ball look like? And if there's a guy that the defense believes in, trusts, thinks can go and get it done at any time, changes the way you approach things. So I physically for him, he's not a small guy. He's put together really well. Now, he's not a 6'3", 240-pounder. But as much as he runs the ball, and I don't know how much they're going to ask him to run it. I would assume it's going to be a decent part of the offense. I wouldn't mind him putting on some extra size because it's going to be a physical year for him in this conference.
And same thing for Mike Hawkins, right? And that's
Yeah.
another piece of Mateer's job is, hey, we all get how this is functioning now in college football. You're the high paid quarterback coming in, high likelihood you're going to be the starter. Like the chance of you being the guy is very, very high. But got to get Mike Hawkins ready. So that's
Yeah.
part of what Mateer's doing, and that's not his job necessarily, but I like to think that falls under his responsibility is pushing Hawkins to be the best he can be. And Cole Gonzalez coming in as well. That dude threw it all over the place for Western Carolina, but pushing those guys, getting them up to speed. And maybe that's the biggest piece of Mateer's job in the winter is, hey, when the coaches can't be around, you got to teach everyone this offense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a massive, massive winner for John Mateer.
No, I totally agree. And I agree with you. I think they're off to a really good start. And, I think that I know that they believe that quarterback group, that room with Arbuckle in there being the offensive coordinator, they're in a totally different space than they were a year ago.
Feeling a little better about the fundamentals of the position
Yeah.
is how I would put it, from what we've been told. All right, who do you have? Who's your next guy on your list?
I'm staying at the edge spot. It's time. PJ. I mean, he's battled some health issues, ankle, foot stuff, whatever it might be. Um, the playing time last season just kind of went away as the year kind of rolled on there. This is it for him. 5-star player, checks all the boxes on the physical traits. It's time. This is where he needs to separate himself and become one of those guys that is a difference maker on the defense. And, it hasn't been probably how he would have drawn it up or really anyone would have drawn it up the way things have gone, battling some health stuff and all those different things. But, this is big for him. There is no way around it that he has the traits to be a game changer for this defensive line, and it's time to put up. Like, this is it. All right. It's not that it's now or never, but it is a very, very important offseason for him. He's got to stack a good winter, a good spring, a good summer, a good training camp, needs to be available, needs to, figure out those technique flaws that he has and really dial in. All of a sudden, PJ's an upperclassman. He's going to be a junior. It's time.
No doubt. What do you think about the type of player he showed to be so far? Like he's not, and it's hard to evaluate him from last season because of the injury issues, right? It seemed like it was the entire season where it was something. He's not a twitchy, flexible, like bend the corner type of player. That's not what I've seen, Ted. So am I crazy to think that maybe PJ is destined to be a 280-pound, just absolute monster physical guy on the edge? Like if you're not going to be the twitchy, bendy pass rusher type, The other mold is, oh my gosh, it's miserable to play that guy. He's so heavy and so strong.
Yeah. I it's hard to know. I it kind of feels that way.
One of the reasons I feel that way is because of his brother.
Yeah.
I mean, his brother's playing on Sundays, and he's a big dude,
Strong, like incredibly strong.
incredibly strong. I bet he's close to what 300 pounds now. Maybe I haven't
Probably.
checked
Yeah.
that roster in a while, but like it makes me think he can get to something like that if he's not going to be an R. Mason Thomas, Danny Okoye, twitchy, fast get off type guy, that type of edge player.
Right. Yeah. And it's hard to he's been difficult to evaluate because like the coordination and the technique of, running the hoop. I mean, I go back to that his true freshman year. I think what was it, Cincinnati? There was one place where he had an incredible rush where it looked like he was going to be that type of guy, but we haven't seen a whole lot of that. My hope is, I mean, I think R. Mason Thomas is a great example. You hear a bunch of great stuff, but was banged up as a freshman, was banged up as a sophomore, fought the ankle the entire year, and it's like, man, I don't know. He doesn't look like a fast get off guy that's going to run the corner, but healthy, had a full year, and that's exactly what he was. So, I mean, I'm with you. Whatever it is, like he needs to dial in and find what his calling, what you know, his go-to pass rushes, his technique. He needs to find what he's going to be and lock in and try and become great at it.
Get heavy, get strong, bull rush long arm, use your length.
Yep.
Or get super healthy and prove to me that you're a twitchy guy.
Yep.
We'll see, but I think we all agree that big winner for PJ. The second guy I have on my list, Heath Ozaeta. No longer a young player, just like what you said about PJ. Going to be his third year, started what, 7 or 8 games
Mm-hmm.
in the 2024 season. And I think of all the offensive linemen, his flashes of showing just natural power production, I thought he had the best flashes of just moving guys. And I think he was a little unsure of what he was doing. Things were moving quickly for him early in the season when he was getting out there and getting snaps. And it appeared that things slowed down a little bit for him as the season progressed. But he's got these great physical traits, right? 6'5, 315, good length. He kind of looks like a G5 tackle playing guard is kind
Mm-hmm.
of the way that it looks to me. He's got a great frame, but now it's time to be a more forceful, powerful, technically sound, and frankly, nastier player. And I do think winter is when you can develop the ability to live in the pain cave.
Yeah.
And I would like to see him develop more strength, more explosiveness, and then just a little more something
Mm-hmm.
to him, because out of all the guys this season, like when he moved people, he moved people. So you see these flashes of what it can be when everything is connected and everything lines up properly from a technique standpoint, from targeting the proper people in the run game. Like he's got all the physical traits you need. It's time for him to start maximizing those. He's not a young player anymore. And let's be real, there's going to be a ton of competition on the offensive line.
Yeah.
He's penciled in as the left guard, but nothing is guaranteed when you think about, hey, Sexton getting back healthy. If EPL is your right guard, you take a look at Weewu at left guard. Like there's going to be a competition. You're bringing in Fasusi and Foje, and I know those guys are tackles, but if you're trying to get your best five on the field, I'm sure Bill will look at him at guard. Like there's going to be competition for him, but he has everything you need to be a really good offensive guard in the SEC. It's time for him to tap into more of that potential. I think it's a huge winner for Heath Ozaeta.
I agree. A lot of that comes from confidence and experience. whenever you're a young player and you're maybe unsure of the technique a little bit, you're unsure of who you're supposed to block, and there's a lot of thinking and processing going on. Well, the explosiveness, the nastiness, the grittiness, that stuff, that's like the last thing to come out. But at this point, you should be locked in on technique. You should be locked in on where you're going and how to block the run concepts and all of that. So, I mean, the next progression is that's whenever you can really tap into start thinking about moving people, thinking about playing gritty and aggressive. So I'm with you.
I think with all the gap scheme stuff that Arbuckle runs, and he's got a little bit of everything in his offense. I I think Ozaeta's a solid athlete. I think the system should be good for him from a run game standpoint. So I'm excited to see what he looks like in spring ball. There should be some progress made for him. All right, who's the third guy on your list?
Jayden Gibson. I love this guy. I number one, I love the edge that he plays with, and we could use some of that on the offensive side of the ball. He's aggressive. He plays angry. He's strong. He's got great size, 6'5", 215 pounds. I don't know exactly what he's weighing right now. He's got great size to him. He's got great athleticism. I think he's got great hands. He does a really good job after the catch. Now, he's coming off of a big injury. And I don't know, I think it was a patella tendon, and it happened in August. What do you think the time frame is on that? What do you think his winter looks like?
I think you got to be cautious. That is not an injury you want to rush back from. A patellar tendon, that is a painful one, man.
Mhm.
When my ACL, they took the graft from my patellar tendon, and that's what takes so long to heal in that situation, and it's not fun.
Mhm.
So you have to look at Jayden Gibson, and this is a good opportunity in winter for him to work on his upper body strength. Just work on that build, like add some size so that he can play the position with a little more physicality. But yeah, I think you got to be careful. I
Yeah.
think that's the road back from a patellar tendon tear is not, it is a long road, dude.
Yeah. The tendon is hard to get a lot of blood flow in there. They recover slowly. And I think he's one of those guys, like, to me, I don't even necessarily worry about him in the spring. To me, he's a guy that you got to have healthy. You need him at full go. The main thing is to be there, be available, be healthy in the fall. So whatever it is he can do, add some size and some strength with the upper body. Work on some of his technique at a slower pace, perhaps. But you know, for guys that are grinding in the weight room and trying to get their weight up and their strength up, back to what I said at the beginning, the guys that are injured and had surgeries, you have to attack the rehab with the same vigor.
No doubt. All right, let's get to the rest of our guys on our list. But first, hitting the highway, remember to stop at Love's Travel Stops. You can't miss the heart of the highway. And with the Love's app, you can also save big. How big? 10 or 15 cents big. Save 10 cents per gallon on gas and 15 cents per gallon on auto diesel. Save with the Love's app today and be welcomed by clean places and friendly faces. Certain conditions may apply. See loves.com for details.
You listen to this podcast to get insight from the guys who played the game. Why don't you take that same approach when it comes to buying your beef? When you order from Didier Ranch, you are getting your beef directly from the people who raise it. A rancher knows what it takes to have premium quality beef. Didier Ranch has done it for over 100 years right here in Oklahoma. From delicious 21-day dry-aged ribeyes to savory steak burgers, there is no better place to get your beef. Get your beef from the guys who've done it and use code Oklahoma15 for 15% off on DidierRanch.com. Didier Ranch, tradition tastes better.
And we are brought to you by Simple Modern, the official drinkware partner of the OU Sooners. Let me ask you a question. Are you getting enough water every day? Probably not. Did you know that men need about 124 ounces of water per day to stay hydrated? Let Simple Modern help you meet your hydration goals for this new year and help all the Sooners in your life stay hydrated this year too. Plus, with Simple Modern's new personalizer, you can now create personalized drinkware for yourself or anyone else with just a few clicks. With 10% of all Simple Modern profits going to charity, many in Oklahoma, you're also helping Oklahomans everywhere. Simple Modern, it's good everywhere. The third guy on my list, he's played, he's produced, but I think he can take it to another level. Give me Kip Lewis.
Mm.
It's time for him to make the leap. 63 tackles a year ago, 4 tackles for loss, no sacks. Obviously had a couple huge pick sixes in the season, but a void has been left with Danny Stutzman's departure. And that's a production void at inside backer and a big leadership void for the defense. Kip is the best playmaker left in that linebacker room. But he has to get bigger. He has to get stronger. There's too many times last season, Ted, where he's getting thrown out of the club. That cannot happen as often as it did in 2024. He has to make a massive effort to add weight and add strength. You can't just only get by on football instincts and speed. You got to have something to you in the box at inside backer. And while it got better from 2023 to 2024, it's still not where it needs to be for Kip Lewis. So I think that he's a naturally vocal guy. He needs to learn how to channel that at times. I think he's got some natural leadership qualities to him. He's a playmaker, man, but he's got to get bigger. He's got to get stronger. So that's why I think that with Stutzman going out and Kip having the ability that he does, like the winner is, I think it's absolutely critical for Kip Lewis.
Totally agree. You never have to worry about energy or effort with Kip. But I totally agree whenever you say he's got to find a way to channel it, corral some of that energy and, the chaotic stuff that we see from him, just become a more consistent player, dial in on pad level, lower body strength and size. Like whatever. He's a hard gainer. That's just because all of that energy, the guy, he's a shark. If he stops moving, he dies, right? He's always burning energy at a high level. He's an incinerator, metabolism wise. It's going to be hard for him to put on weight. So he really has to focus on it. For him, every 5 pounds, every 7 pounds that he can put on is going to pay massive dividends for him. And just for me, he's going to make the wow plays. Whenever he sees it and triggers and comes downhill, he's going to make those plays. Pass coverage, he's going to break on routes and be a menace back there. But it can't be 3 times a game. Like his every down, just playing your gap, maybe you're not going to make the play, but you got to be able to hold point, come down, affect the line of scrimmage. He's got to be better there. He's got to be an every down player a little bit better. I think if he can find that and he can raise his consistency, I think he can be a excellent, excellent player in this conference. Excellent. Top tier linebacker.
I'm with you. All right. Who do you have as the fourth guy on your list?
I'm going Xavier Robinson. We got to see him, and he wasn't there in the spring last year, or what he was, but the size. He had to work on his body composition a little bit. Kind of came on a little bit slower, perhaps. But I mean, you're saying that as a true freshman, but ended up carrying the football for us a lot. He's got great size. He's got great physicality, balance, all of those things. Now, can he take it to the next level? right? He's off to a tremendous start. Can he find the consistency? Can he have a full off season, knowing what he's supposed to do to really build on things and dial in of the little details of being a running back? Understand the protection stuff a little bit better. And I mean, let's be honest. I mean, we've got some guys in that room where I think we're kind of fighting to see who's going to take over and take ownership of that group and be the guy. I think everyone's kind of on a level. They've all shared their moments. We saw Xavier Robinson share his moments. Sawchuk has had his. Barnes has had some moments. Now it's going to see who can be the most consistent guy, the most physical guy, and get it done game after game.
I'm with you. I think that the running back position, it just has not been dynamic enough. This program over these last couple of years, they have not had the runs, like the big chunk runs that you need to be where you want to be offensively.
Which is rare for this program.
Right.
We've always had the guy.
So can Xavier Robinson raise the ceiling of the room? I think the floor of the room is solid, but and maybe it's Taylor Tatum, but can they raise the ceiling of the room to where people turn on OU's tape and go, oh boy, we have to stop this guy? Because I don't think teams have been doing that these last couple years. I think teams have probably turned on the tape and gone, okay, we're not that concerned about the running back position. And if Xavier Robinson can have the type of winner that I think he can have, then maybe that conversation changes once the fall rolls around.
I don't think there's any doubt. And if you take an honest assessment of the position and you kind of look at last year whenever we had our first year in the SEC, Tennessee had Sampson. Auburn had Hunter. Texas had a couple of guys, right? You start going down that list, South Carolina, you start looking at the running backs that we faced, and we were at the bottom of the conference running back wise. When you just call it how it is, we have to make up a massive amount of ground at that position group with the competition that we face week in, week out. Throw Michigan into the rotation with what they've always got at running back, and we play them in the second game of the year. We have to be better at running back. There is no way around it. And we brought in one freshman in the recruiting cycle. We didn't add anyone in the transfer portal at that position. So what we have is what we have. I mean, I guess you've always got the post-spring window. We don't know what's going to happen there, but somebody or a couple of guys from that group need to really take their game to the next level, or we'll be in the same spot at the lower end of the SEC at a position group where traditionally we've been great. We went from Quentin Griffin to Adrian Peterson to DeMarco Murray, and I'm missing other great backs that were sprinkled in. Joe Mixon, P. Ryan. I mean, we've had a long train of guys that have been really good, for a quarter century. We've got to get back on that train.
I'm with you. I think this next one may surprise you.
Okay.
I've got Taylor Wein. I've been thinking about this defensive line quite a bit. And one thing that I think is leaving with Ethan Downs is just a guy where you turn on the tape and you go, dude, it's just not going to be fun to play against this guy. He's incredibly physical. He's big. He's strong. He plays with incredible effort. Like, I feel like that piece, no one else has really shown that at the edge spot like Ethan Downs did. Now, Ethan was not a guy that was going to go out and get you 8 sacks, but he was a guy, as a former offensive lineman, you watch him, you go, oh, I know this is going to hurt.
Yep.
And I think Taylor Wein can be that guy that is just stupid physical. And when you're preparing for the game, you go, ooh, this ain't going to be much fun. And because they need that guy to replace Ethan Downs when it comes to just that physical, just grinder at the edge position and at the defensive line. And I think Wein is the most natural guy to assume that role. Now, he only had like 2 tackles last season. He may have had more personal fouls than tackles, but 6'4", 265 last year. I mean, where can he be from a weight and strength perspective this year after another offseason? I think that he has the capability of being that tone setter, physical, just, oh, this is going to suck to play against type of guy. And I love when the defense has that guy. And Ethan Downs was that guy. And now, he's eligibility ran out. So I think Taylor Wein is the most natural fit. I do think he's got not all the screws loose, but the proper amount that you're looking
Got
for.
some stuff to him now.
He's got some stuff to him. Now it's time for him to crank it up a notch or a couple notches. The physicality, the strength, the explosiveness, the effort, like all of it. And I think that everything that I want Taylor Wein to be as a player correlates to winter workouts. I think that's where all that stuff is built. So I think it's a big winner for Wein.
I agree. It kind of going back to, what you were saying about PJ. Like, figure out who you're going to be and develop those assets. And for Taylor Wein, I think you know who you're going to be. So work on that power, work on the technique, work on pad level, focus on those things and become elite at them. And yeah, I mean, because whenever you start to plug in the pieces and look at what we've got, you feel really good about it. But do we have the guy that can hold up on the edge? I mean, we've talked about the tight ends that we face in this conference. Like, if you got a guy playing six technique that's head up on a tight end, some of those guys are, 6'6", 265 pounds with great length and physicality. We have to have some size and some pop from some defensive ends, some edge guys that are playing in those spots. And he's the guy you look to, right? And you're right, 6'4", 265. And, you start pushing that 270, 275 number. I mean, you're not asking him to run around the corner on guys, right? So I think that could be, one of the keystone pieces if he can become really dependable, keep that edge to him, but really dial in on the technique and the consistency.
I'm with you. All right, who's the last guy on your list?
Davon Mitchell, right?
Surprised it took us this long.
I know. And we all know the tight end position has to get much better. And we've got a lot of eggs in the Davon Mitchell basket. Last year, he should have been a senior in high school, right? We do have to remember and factor in that he reclassified and came early, and, and the immaturity was there. If you listen to himself and, some of the staff, he's got some incredible traits to him. He is big. He's physical. He just, didn't have the technique and the know-how and all the things. I mean, it's tricky. You go from playing high school ball where you're running around and catching passes to all of a sudden you're blocking aliens in the SEC on the perimeter, right? It is maybe the most important spot in a lot of the run game stuff that you do. One of the most important spots in protection at times. And, I don't worry about, how many catches is he going to have next year. We'll get there whenever it's time to get there. I'm worried about, are we going to have a guy in the run game that we can move around, that we can, play on the line of scrimmage and do a really good job holding point on the perimeter against, some of the edge guys that you see in the SEC they're excellent. I mean, you start going down the list last year of potential first rounders that we played. There's a lot of those guys. Tennessee, South Carolina had them. Texas has a couple of young ones now. So you've got to get good at tight end, being able to block on the perimeter and have some consistency. And we all know if you were to look at one position group on this football team that maybe has the most pressure to perform next year, it's tight end.
No doubt. And there's a lot of pressure on Mitchell. But it's interesting because there was a lot of positive feedback towards the back end of the season with how he'd progressed, how he'd matured, how strong he was, how good of a blocker he was. And then we didn't see him in the bowl game. And I feel like that was deflating for us. Like, we've been hearing all this good stuff, and the guy can't even get on the field for one snap. So the tight end position's a mystery. Man, you've got all these these obscure transfer guys coming in that no one knows anything about. They had very little production, where they're coming from. So yeah, it feels like there's a lot of pressure on Mitchell. Yeah. And you've said it a lot, and it has stuck with me. Your 5-star recruit's got to be 5 stars, man.
Yep.
You got to develop. You got to be a key contributor. Not everyone's going to be a first rounder. I understand that. But you can't just be a guy. Like, you have to be a dude, or like floating in the dude area if you're a 5-star recruit, because that means you've got the physical ability, you've got the measurables, and Mitchell absolutely does. Now it's time for him to do something with them.
Yeah. And, I'll just throw in there as an honorable mention for the list at Caden Helms, who we know has really battled that knee injury and has had to come on. It's an important offseason for him too.
No doubt. All right, my last one. Your 5 stars have to be 5 stars. Peyton Bowen's been okay. Solid. Has he been a huge difference maker for Oklahoma football? I don't know if anyone would say that. 33 tackles last season. I don't believe he had an interception. Very few wow plays. He's got the physical tools. He's got the size. Now, I do think he needs to get his body bulkier. That way he can play the position with more physicality. Mm-hmm. You look at the way that RSJ is built. You look at even how Billy Bowman, who's not a super tall guy, but he really was put together. That's where Peyton Bowen's got to get. He's got to just look a little better physically. He's got to get in the weight room. He's got to take it seriously. He needs to grind and get stronger and more explosive. And he's got to do whatever he's got to do to get his body ready to absorb the physical toll of a full season.
Yep.
Because it feels like there's always something going on with him throughout the year that keeps him from playing at his peak. And he's got to figure that out. He's got to get bigger and stronger and fill out his frame more. And that should allow him to fly around and be a more aggressive physical player at that safety position. But your 5 stars got to be 5 stars, man. We all remember the drama of signing day with him. It was a massive deal that the Sooners were able to land him. And up to this point, he hasn't been this huge difference maker that you're expecting a 5-star safety to be.
Yeah.
I think he's got it in him, but now's the time, man. Now is the time.
Yep. And you're not going to be in Billy Bowman's shadow anymore. It's time to step up, take ownership, and he needs to find a spot because of, like Bowman and what we've had on the back end. He's played at safety. He's played at cheetah. He's played, that dime whenever they have the 6 DB guys out there. He's kind of moved all over the place. Need to find a home and go take that starting spot and be an anchor on this defense. And you're right. He's got some real good physical tools, just a good all-around athlete. Needs to become a sturdier, stronger player. That it's going to be a long year, physical year. We know that. You got to be able to hold up at the safety spot.
And let's be real. Some young guy's going to be nipping at his heels.
Yeah, there's
if he
competition in that room.
If he doesn't develop the way that he needs to develop. And that starts with winter. How are we feeling about our list? Good?
I like it. I mean, I could go all day long. There's a bunch of guys that, we could have put on there. David Stone is one. I mean, when we're talking about 5 stars.
Let's get to call your shot. Brad Barnett, he says, Stone, need a big step for 2025. Agreed, Brad.
Totally agree.
5 stars got to be 5 stars.
Yep.
And I think Stone showed some flashes.
He did. What I like about him, I like his motor. I like his willingness to work and get better. He's just got to work. I mean, it's for a lot of those guys that come in that were able to do pretty much anything they wanted in high school, you get a bunch of bad habits that way, right? For him, pad level is going to be the most critical thing for him. Pad level and hands, and needs to work on his body composition. I think he's got some great athleticism just naturally. He needs more muscle and more strength to where he can put that quick twitch and that athleticism to work.
No doubt. Josh Lumley says, Jaren Kanak, his Twitter game has been stellar, but can he take it to the next level this winter? Hopefully an appearance on the Oklahoma Breakdown can help him do that. We would love to have Kanak on. Come on, Jaren. You're always welcome on here, buddy.
I like Kanak. Again, incredible athlete. I've said it a million times. Whenever you go out and you watch the linebackers go through drills, he looks like the guy that's got the best movement, the most fluid movement. He's got incredible speed, got great change of direction. It's been a tough transition for him going to play linebacker. He doesn't have a long history of that. But he's been a guy that has been rotational for us. And let's be honest, like, we like to play multiple inside backers throughout the year, and Kanak is going to play. Can he become a more consistent guy for us, and just have the confidence out there to go play, the pass coverage stuff, knowing where he's supposed to be, some of the run fits. I think he can have a great year.
Sounds like it could be a busy winter and busy spring for Kanak.
Yeah.
Little 2-way action.
I wouldn't mind that. That's where he's natural. You go back and you watch him run the football in high school, it's impressive.
True H-back action for Kanak. I mean, sounds like they're going to look at some of that stuff in spring ball.
Yeah.
Very interested to see how that looks. The next use check.
Oh, man. That'd be good.
You think?
Put some size on. The neck needs to grow a couple of sizes. Meathead in the backfield, sign me up.
True H-back with a fullback mentality and a goofy personality. It's pretty much worth its weight in gold.
All you really have to do to change over to true H-back is to change the face mask style, right? Isn't that critical?
I think so, but you just hate that. You hated that helmet that him and Stutzman wear.
Yeah, you look like Marvin the Martian in it. You want a face mask that looks scary. All right, it's part of the problem.
All right. Something to consider, Kanak, a face mask change if you're going to be playing some offense, which sounds like that's going to be the case. We'll
that
see.
Helmet to be heavy, not light.
Exactly. All right, let's get to football, guys, talking basketball. But first,
Schwab Meat has been smoking the highest quality meats, hot dogs, and sausages in OKC since 1912. Go to schwabmeat.com to order any of Schwab's outstanding products and use promo code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab dogs are iconic. I like to keep it simple. Just a bun, dog, mustard, ketchup. Also, the jalapeno cheddar smoked sausage is ridiculous. Schwabmeat.com, code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab Meat, the official hot dog of game days.
Oklahoma's favorite pub, Pub W, is a modern American pub offering a great new take on classic drinks and cuisine. They offer an extensive beer and specialty drink selection with something for everyone, and that's exactly why Pub W was voted best happy hour. And we all love a delicious brunch. Pub W brunch is served Saturdays and Sundays until 2 p.m. with some of the most delicious brunch offerings you'll find anywhere. Now open in Yukon, Oklahoma. Visit one of their 6 Oklahoma locations. Visit pubdub.com for locations and menus.
Insurica's launched a new digital agency introducing Insurica Direct. Whether you're in Oklahoma or anywhere across the U.S., they've got you covered. From small business insurance and health insurance for your employees to insurance for individuals like home, auto, and even Medicare supplements. Insurica Direct's got it all. Start your journey today at insuricadirect.com. Remember, at Insurica, we specialize in you.
Time for football, guys talking basketball, FGTB, and the Sooners just that was a tough one, man. When you get absolutely destroyed on the glass like they did, it's hard to win a basketball game, but it's also hard to lose a game when you're plus 18 from 3.
Yep.
So just rebounds and free throws, man. Rebounds and free throws. And let's just be honest. When you play good teams, your guys have to show up. And all you people that responded to my Jeremiah Fears take, well, oh no, he's going to be gone because he's guaranteed to be a lottery pick. He may be a top 5 player. 0 points for Jeremiah Fears.
Yep.
0. And frankly, Porter Moser shouldn't have played him as many minutes as he did. He was a detriment to that team last night.
Yep.
And it's going to be really, really hard for the Sooners to win a game, even though that I thought Jalen Moore played with great effort, brought everything he needed to bring. Goodine was really good again. But if Fierce has 0, this team ain't winning any games. Let's be real.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I was really frustrated. He kind of disappeared for the game, but late, you're within striking range with A&M on the road, kind of in a position where if you would have said, hey, you're down 4 or 5 with, under 5 to go, they probably take that position. And he missed 2 free throws, had a really bad turnover in that stretch. If you don't have it in a game, I get it. Like if the ball's not going through the hoop, find other ways to be effective and, get to the foul line where you can have some easy points, just maintain possession of the ball, make some good passes. And it was bad. It was bad late, and you're going to get that at times from freshmen. I understand, and I had thought the last couple of games he had been better. And I thought that maybe he had found his baseline instead of trying to go out and do as much as he was in the non-conference. Maybe he pulled back and dialed some of his stuff back, but that was a setback last night for sure.
The rebound disparity is just, and I get A&M's got some big physical dudes, right? And those are not the players that Oklahoma has in the front court, even though
they were out one of their big front court players too.
Yeah. And you lose the rebounding battle 47-19, 21 offensive boards. What do you attribute that to?
I mean, size and athleticism in the front court. I mean,
I'm not questioning the guy's effort. I don't think, is it just they were physically outmatched? I mean, like, I thought that Godwin and Wiggy, like, I thought those guys played hard, but every time a shot went up, I was going, oh, I'm going to be shocked if A&M doesn't go and get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You can't overcome that disparity on the offensive glass. You know, sometimes on some shots there's nothing you can do. You know, it takes a bad bounce on you, you're in a good position. You know, sometimes those things are going to happen, but you can't explain that away when it's 21-2 on the offensive glass. I don't know.
A&M hit 4 threes and beat us.
They did not play well.
Just frustrating, man. That was a gettable game for the Sooners. Even though the first half, we were all sitting there at halftime going, "How is this a 1 point game?"
Yeah.
A&M had shot 20 free throws. The Sooners had shot 4. What was the rebounding margin? It was like 28-9, and everyone was going, "Wait, how is this?" It's the power of the 3 point shot, is what it is. But yeah, you hit 6 more threes. You have more steals. You have less turnovers. And you lose. It's just frustrating, man.
Yep.
Just feels like this group, and I know this is a brand new team compared to last year, but just like under Porter Moser, it just can't get over the hump for whatever reason in conference play.
I know. It's if you look at a basketball game and one team has 44 shots and the other team has 56, I mean, that's tough to make up that ground. One team has 35 foul shots, the other has 22. I mean, just the amount of attempts there that they had because of the rebounding, we don't have that margin. Right? We've got to be able to level the playing field to some degree.
Jeremiah Fierce, maybe it's this simple. Jeremiah Fierce has to be better, or else OU's going to lose maybe every game the rest of the way.
Yeah. What's the in what do you think is going to happen with him minute wise moving forward? Do you think they start to adjust that even more?
If he plays the way that he did last night, like if you're Porter Moser, I don't know if Porter's coaching for his job or not, but if you're Porter Moser, you got to do whatever gives your team the best chance to win games.
It's a tough spot to be in because you sit there and you say, well, if we're going to win some of these tough games, and I don't know if like beating A&M on the road was going to be a really big ask. But in order to win games like that, like Fears, I think you kind of know what you're going to get from everyone else to some degree. I mean, some guys are going to play better game, than others night to night, but you pretty much know the baseline of those guys. Like Jalen Moore, he's giving you about 20 a game and doing the things that he does. The real difference is going to be Jeremiah Fears. And you can maybe play someone else and stop the bleeding, but I don't know that you're going to be able to win those games unless he goes in and plays well. Does that make sense?
He's your most talented player.
Yeah.
Now, I think Jalen Moore is more physically talented, but from just a basketball skill set, like Fierce is supposed to be your guy. This is a guy that people are talking about being a high lottery pick. So it's hard to just say, hey, man, sit on the bench and I'm going to go with Forsythe, even though Forsythe was better, much better than Fierce last night.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Ted, you're right. Porter Moser's in a tough spot.
I mean, Forsythe, he played more minutes. Fierce
he should have.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Porter Moser does. I don't think you can just bench Jeremiah Fears. I think you just have to Hope that he figures it out and kind of puts it all together. I don't know, but you could, and I don't claim to be the body language doctor last night, but I was interested in how Jeremiah Fears was acting on the bench in some of those critical minutes when he wasn't out on the floor. And I wouldn't say he was the most energetic guy I've ever seen over there.
Yeah.
So
It's tough
that's like
whenever you're playing
where's he
for,
at mentally? Like how can you build him back up because you absolutely need him and his scoring or else you're going to miss the tournament again, especially when you look at the remaining schedule. A lot of really good teams left.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know him and I don't know like what it's like there practice it. But the way he played early and the lottery pick talk could probably was not a good thing for him. Just, confidence wise, like you feel like you have to live up to that every night and go out there and prove that every night. And I know that you want guys doing that, but I don't know. I think playing within yourself a little bit, a little more measured would probably help him out a little bit. But again, this is football guys talking basketball, so I don't know how you handle that, honestly.
People are here for our hard hitting basketball analysis. Okay.
Right.
He's got to stop turning the ball over.
Yeah.
He's got to cherish the basketball and just get him some open shots. I feel like I feel like I want to see him play off the ball more.
Yeah.
So I don't
I
know.
think you find the spots that you really like and just take those shots. Don't feel like, okay, I'm going to shoot here no matter, what look I get. It just feels chaotic. Instead of just really dialing in on the spots that you like and your heat chart where you're hitting shots, just shoot those whenever they're available. If they're not available, give it up.
I feel like his his confidence is not in a great place and it
Understandable.
and it needs to come back. I also feel like this team looks its best when it's pressuring on defense, but I don't know if they have the necessary depth to play like that for 40 minutes, but
They
I
did. They
thought,
looked good late whenever they were trapping, and
right?
yeah, that looked good.
So maybe we see Porter Moser sprinkle a little more of that in. I don't think you can make a huge defensive mentality switch like that within the season, but Vandy
Well,
on Saturday.
it may give them a little bit more opportunity because I feel like they are best when they're out and running, but they don't get as many opportunities to do that as you would like. And maybe that creates some easier, better offense for them because I don't know. It feels like they really struggle when the game slows down and they're in the half court offense. Hard to find good looks.
2:30 on Saturday. Got to have it.
Got to have it. This is one of those like the way the season looks, they've got check mark games that you have to win. And then there's other games that are probably unlikely, and you're going to have to find a way to steal one or two of those.
Got to win
But
on
you
your home
can't drop
floor.
the ones that you're able to win.
I think this is the most important game of OU season. Losing on the road to A&M, okay. Vanderbilt at home, and I know Vanderbilt's a top 25 team. They're ranked
Playing better.
24th.
Yep.
But you've got Vanderbilt at home, should be a good crowd with the afternoon tip. And your next game is on the road at number one Auburn. So, got to have this one.
Got to have it. Yep.
Let's talk a little Thunder. Shea has been announced as an all-star starter. Duh.
Mm-hmm.
Cason Wallace was excited to see that he will be in the Rising Stars game again. He's been really, really solid in his first two seasons for the Thunder. But the all-star reserves will be announced tomorrow, Ted. And the big question is, will Jalen Williams, J-Dub, be an all-star?
Yes.
better be, or else we riot. Right?
Yep.
I mean, the Thunder, best record in the league. It would be a travesty if the Thunder only has one player on the All-Star
Right.
team. Right? And there's a variety of reasons I believe Jalen Williams should be an All-Star. First of all, just look at the stats. 21 points, 5.5 rebounds, over 5 assists a game. He's only missed one game the entire season. And there was a stretch in the season where Hartenstein and Chet were both out, and they were playing him at center.
Right.
So when you look at some of his efficiency metrics on both ends of the floor, you have to remember they have made him play 5 for long stretches. The guy has done whatever this team needs him to do, and he's done it at a very high level. And there have been a couple big games where he hasn't showed up from an offensive standpoint the way that you want him to show up, but dang, he's been pretty good. And this franchise deserves 2 players representing them at the All-Star game.
When you if you got the best record in the league, it's almost like a requirement at that point that you got to have 2 All-Stars there, right? I mean, I guess you never know, but to me, I would say if I had to place a wager on it, I would say yes.
Good, because I'm going to be really, really mad if he's not. And I think he will be, and I'm not sure this should matter or not, but I think it does matter. The Thunder, they're here to stay, man.
Mm-hmm.
This team isn't going anywhere. I think we can all acknowledge that this team is going to be in the titles discussion for the foreseeable future. And the NBA needs to market the Oklahoma City Thunder.
That's right. Yep.
And Jalen Williams is extremely marketable. He's an excellent player. He's got an awesome personality. Dude's just got an electric smile. He's into all the fashion stuff that plays really well with the youths. He's got this interesting personality. Like, the league needs to promote this guy. And there's a debate. Is he the Thunder's second best player? Or is it Chet? Chet's been out.
Yeah.
The NBA has an opportunity to build Jalen Williams' brand and to build the brand of the Oklahoma City Thunder here.
No doubt.
And they will be missing an opportunity if they don't make him an all-star.
They already missed the first opportunity by taking the team that, made it to the Western Conference Finals and not giving them a lot of national exposure with the TV schedule games. They need to make up for that because, like you said, they're going to be here to stay for the extended future, and like you got to build on what teams are going to be good. I keep saying it. The old guard, the old big stars, they're all fading out pretty quickly. You got to start to elevate, some of the new younger guys coming up.
We riot if J-Dub is not an all-star.
All right. I'll put it in the calendar.
Okay. Let's finish up with our winners and losers of the weekend. Week? What day is it? It's Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Winners and losers of the week. But first, 3 things matter in banking: service, and service. And First Fidelity Bank's commitment to exceptional service is more than a promise. It's their foundation. FFB has been by your side for over a century, and they are honored to be a part of your journey. Banking isn't about where you've been, it's about where you are headed. Open an account at an award-winning bank today at ffb.com. At First Fidelity Bank, we go where you go.
Bishop McGuinness Catholic High School represents a tradition of educational excellence in Oklahoma City. Grounded in a faith-based education, Bishop McGuinness offers a college prep curriculum that includes 26 AP courses, participation in OSSAA athletics, and numerous clubs and organizations for students to join and grow. If you want to provide the best possible educational and spiritual development for your children, contact Bishop McGuinness Catholic High School or visit bmchs.org. Financial aid is available.
And go to opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED for 10% off our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED. Buttery soft and 10% off. As always, Ted kicks off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
Shane Beamer. South Carolina extending Shane Beamer, got a big pay raise, contract extended out until 2030. Going to be making over $8 million a year, $100,000 a year pay raise with that as well. Up from, like 6.5 million that he was making. So also includes a buyout deal for if he was to leave and go somewhere else. But that's a nice contract for Shane Beamer.
When he comes on the podcast this year, I think we have to just refer to him as Big Money Beamer now, right?
Money Beamer. That's right. That's funny. He, and I'll say South Carolina, I think the pressure's on. They had a good year. And we've seen it kind of historically with South Carolina. What you get is you get a nice run up, ramp up, a strong year, and then they kind of fade for a couple more years until they get the right guys, seniors, and then they have another good run. They got a really good quarterback in Sellers, but they are losing a bunch of players. They're losing, potentially a first-round edge guy. And I know they got Stewart coming back, but both of those guys was what made that issue really tough for you. They had a ton of seniors on defense, 8, 9 seniors on defense. So it's a big year for South Carolina because a lot of people are going to have high expectations. Are they going to be able to have the talent that can pull it off?
You think Shane's glad this happened so that the stories of him and Brett Bielema get knocked down on like the search engine stuff?
Yeah, probably.
That was awesome. Let the two men go at it, people. What are we doing? Breaking those guys up. Let them go at it. It's football. Just two men talking. Let them have a necessary conversation.
Beamer, he's one of those coaches that stick around for the post-game press conference. You never know what you're going to get. He's animated over on the sideline. He's a fun coach to watch. I'm happy he got the big deal.
He's the most likable guy of all time.
Yep.
And unfortunately now we play his team, so I can't root for them the way that I used to.
I will say I'm really looking forward to that road trip. Heard great things about that place.
Oh yeah. Place looks fun.
It does.
Looks like a fun place to call a football game. Cannot wait. Be good to see Big Money Beamer in his natural habitat.
Big Money Beamer. It's awesome.
Who do you have as your loser of the week?
We got the Senior Bowl going on. Some guys are making money. Some guys are losing money. And it sounds like Milroe, quarterback from Alabama, has had a rough go of it so far at quarterback. They're saying that he's a tough evaluation. I thought it was interesting. One coach said that he's not nearly as big as I thought. And, he's got a big physical build to him, but I think he weighed in at like 220, 225 there. Listed like maybe 6'1", 6'2". So not as big as they thought. And the accuracy problems that we saw throughout his tenure at Alabama look like they've continued on, while other guys like Dillon Gabriel perhaps making some money. He's having a great showing.
Looks sharp. Helmet is awesome. The custom Oregon OU UCF helmet, well done. But there's no way he threw the ball 74 miles an hour. There's just no way. What are we even talking about? That was a statistical error. I don't know what happened, but
must have caught a car on the highway back in the background going by or something. I don't know, but he's got, I've watched a lot of the clips. He's got a good arm. He looks good. He's throwing some awesome deep balls. Accuracy's been really impressive, but we all know that he does not have a stronger arm than Joe Milton and Josh Allen.
12 miles per hour faster than Josh Allen, Who has an absolute cannon attached to his right arm? No,
Throws it like 90 yards. No, I don't
no.
think so.
And I don't think anyone's ever gone. Dillon Gabriel just has, I mean, his velocity's insane. So that was just an error of some sort. Some wires got crossed in whatever technology exists that produces that. But I'm rooting for him, man. He's a
Yep.
hard guy not to root for, and he's making money. And you mentioned Milroe. Did you see who picked him off?
Mm-mm.
Billy Bowman.
Oh, yeah. I didn't. I saw his intercept. I didn't know that Milroe threw that. He's had
Yeah.
a. People are really impressed with him, which is not a shock.
No, the one thing working against Billy is he doesn't have the ideal size, but from the people that are down there that I've talked to, Jacob Hester had him on a list of, I think it was 5 guys, like as one of the winners of day one of practice.
Yeah.
And Hester knows ball. So he clearly, his coverage skills, his quickness, his suddenness, it really looks like it's standing out down there in Mobile, which is great for Billy. I don't know if I don't even know where to guess what round he's going to go in because of the size factor, but there's no doubt in my mind. Through one practice, Billy Bowman has made himself money down in Mobile.
He is a rare mix of versatility. He can cover well. He's incredibly physical, and his size is down for the position that he plays, but he makes up for it with explosiveness. He's got great top end speed. So even though like he doesn't check the box maybe on where you want to be traits wise, he has some things that make up for it. And he's just a hell of a football player. He can do everything. And I think that's showing well.
Wish Stutzman would have gone,
I know.
but I get it. And I texted Danny about it, and he just basically said, I've played a lot of football. Think I put everything I need to put on tape. Wants to get ready for the combine. Totally understand that. I think that's fair. And I don't know how much you can improve your stock at the Senior Bowl at inside backer. That's one of those positions where there's not a bunch of one-on-one coverage stuff. They do some of that
One on one with the running
with the
backs,
running
which is a
backs.
very difficult drill. I mean, it's probably the hardest drill. It's nothing like covering a running back in a game.
But I
You
think
know,
inside backer is low on the list of positions that can really boost their stock in an all-star game like that.
yeah, you may be right. Yep.
It's like D line, O line, you've got the one-on-one stuff. Same thing for wide receiver, DB, like inside backer. Hey, can you get everyone lined up? Like, I don't know.
Right.
I think that I'm hoping that Stutzman made the right choice and he tests really, really well at the combine, getting
Yep.
in the extra week of training.
Yeah. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Yeah. And I'm really not worried about him. I think he'll probably test well, and he's got great film, and he's got really good personality. People are going to really like the interview sessions with him, so he'll be just fine.
All right, let's get to my winner and loser. But first,
We are brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code OKBreakdown to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars awarded in winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds. Turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. And I got my eyes on the big game next Sunday, Super Bowl, and we'll be selecting Patrick Mahomes more than a half yard passing. Yes, more than .5 passing yards. Just giving that square to you guys. I mean, I think we can all assume Mahomes is going to check that box. And then taking Saquon Barkley less than 114 and a half rushing yards. Prize Picks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When your picks hit, you can get your money in as quick as 15 minutes. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code OKBreakdown to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
And are you planning an exciting trip this year? I bet something you might not be planning is learning the local language. Well, with Babbel, you only need a few weeks to learn. And here's a special offer for our listeners, and it's only for our listeners. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription at babbel.com/Oklahoma. Don't pay hundreds of dollars for private tutors or waste hours on apps that don't really help you speak the language. Just use Babbel. Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons are handcrafted by over 200 language experts to help you start speaking a language in as little as 3 weeks. Babbel also has live classes available 7 days a week, and at any time of day, they are taught by over 450 certified teachers, so you can learn on your schedule. Don't let the language gap hold you back from taking your dream vacation. If you want to speak more than one language, Babbel can help. Travel more and be more comfortable where you're going with Babbel. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/Oklahoma. That's BABBEL.com/Oklahoma. Rules and restrictions may apply. For my winner of the week, thought about going with Baker Mayfield, Pro Bowler Baker Mayfield. Travesty
Nice.
that he didn't make it initially, but it got corrected. He is a Pro Bowler, and he is the first Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback to earn multiple Pro Bowl invitations in franchise history.
Is that crazy or what?
It's awesome. Not bad, Bake. Way to go.
Yeah, that's impressive. Good for him. And a team like that's had some amazing ups in their franchise history. That's surprising.
Also thought about going with TGL. Did you see that one?
That was a good one.
Tiger, Rory, Tom Kim yelling at everyone. Went to overtime, which, by the way, the pitch shots closer to the pin for overtime, it's like almost penalty kick style. That was really cool. I really enjoyed that. But I have to imagine when they put this league together, that's what they envisioned. I was locked in, man. And I think
Yeah.
everyone, it got glowing reviews. It was by far the best thing that they put out. And when those things are really competitive, it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it is. And you're right. I love the overtime. It's like whenever you walk off the 18th green with your friends and there's tide and everyone has to get home, you just have a quick little chip off. That's the way to do it. That's fun. I like that.
That was great. But my winner of the week, Ted, should you ever cooperate with the NCAA?
No,
No. No, of course
of
not.
course not. What are we talking about here?
Which is why Michigan football is my winner of the week. Don't cooperate. They are not cooperating. Yahoo Sports' Ross Dellinger reported that Michigan sent the AA something earlier this month saying they believe the NCAA grossly overreached and wildly overcharged the program without credible evidence that other staff members knew about Connor Stalions and his in-person scouting signal stealing system. 137-page document they've sent over there.
Wow.
And from what Dellinger said, it basically makes it clear that Michigan will not enter into a negotiated resolution with the NCAA over the alleged wrongdoing. Great job, Michigan. Never cooperate. I was very happy to see it. Now, I think Michigan crossed the line with that whole thing. I would call that cheating, what Connor Stalions did. That doesn't change how I feel about that situation. But I think they're doing the absolute right thing by not cooperating with the NCAA.
Yeah, NCAA has proved, and maybe they were always this way, but everyone is it feels like everyone's kind of come to the same conclusion. Toothless tiger, no need to cooperate. Just move on, go about your business.
We'll see what ultimately comes of that. 6 of the 11 violations are level 1 violations. Interesting to see what happens with Sharon Moore with the deleted text messages and all that type of stuff. But maybe the most interesting thing was that Stalions got snitched on by someone associated with Michigan in some way. So that I thought that was interesting. But Yeah, not cooperating. I think it's a good call. Ultimately, the lawyers are the winners in this entire situation. Always
Listen,
be billing, baby.
billable hours, just the clock just sitting there rolling over, right? That's right. Yep. No, but I mean, I can't blame Michigan. Some of the stuff is I don't know. It's just the NCAA has always, you know, there's not like a consistent level across the board with them, what they're gonna, the punishment they're gonna throw at people. And I think everyone's just sick of it. They just move on.
We'll see what happens. I I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be a lot of
Nothing will
fun.
happen. What's the update on the Kansas NCAA lawsuit from, I don't know, 10 years ago whenever they got caught paying players? What, any resolution on that thing? No.
No, because they didn't cooperate. Oklahoma
Right.
State did.
Yeah.
Ask Mike
Got
Boynton
hammered.
how that went. I bet
Got
he
hammered.
still just wakes up every morning hating the NCAA.
Yep. And rightfully so.
My loser of the week, Jerry Jones, Dallas Cowboys fans, Brian Schottenheimer. I don't know. The whole group. Ted, I was interested. I checked out Schottenheimer's introductory press conference just to see what he had to say. It's an interesting set of circumstances. He's very close to Mike McCarthy. McCarthy doesn't get re signed. He ends up being the guy, which no one really saw coming. And to Brian Schottenheimer's credit, he said all the right things. I thought he handled his portion of the press conference very well. Talked about his vision for the Cowboys, and that offense spoke glowingly of Dak Prescott. And then there was whatever the hell that was from Jerry Jones. Dude, what was that?
I I don't know. I maybe he blacked out while he was just talking and just kept going.
They asked him why he hired Schottenheimer, and he immediately got super defensive and talked for legitimately 10 straight minutes about his career and all of this stuff. Dude, they just asked you why you hired him. Just say, I think he's a great football coach. I think he's going to lead the organization in a great way. Like, that was so weird. And Cowboys fans had to be sitting there going, what is happening? It turned into, Ted, it turned into the Jerry Jones show. It was crazy.
Well, yeah, I guess I maybe that shows that he doesn't feel very good about it if the simple question makes him get all defensive and has to explain his life story, right?
I think he was trying to say, my favorite part was, I think he was trying to compliment Schottenheimer, but he was like, this is as big of a risk as you could take. No head coaching experience. And Schottenheimer's just sitting there like, what's going on, man? Because I think he was trying to say, oh, people just say I only do things in my comfort zone and hire my friends and blah blah. No, no, no. I hired this guy. it was it
Well,
was so strange, man.
who what was more awkward, that or Liam Cohen with the Jaguars? His
Duval. That Liam Cohen's goofiness got completely buried because Jerry Jones is, I mean, just like you said, he just blacked out and wouldn't stop talking. It was so weird.
I I I could not watch the Liam Cohen thing.
I
I
watched
could
it 20 times.
I couldn't. I was just I don't know. I
It was
got
so goofy that it makes me think he's going to crush it there.
there might be something to that. It was just as a Jaguars fan, it's like you expect your coach to be like well put together and come up there and crush it, say all the right things, win the press conference or whatever. Not that any of that matters, but with him, you had to walk away saying, "I don't know, man. This is awkward."
It If I was a Jaguars fan, what would give me hope is, do you remember Nick Sirianni's initial
Yeah,
press conference? That was about as weird as it gets.
Yep.
And the guy's going to his second Super Bowl next Sunday.
Now,
So
not all awkward introductory press conferences are good though. What about whenever Adam Gase looked like he just hit the crack pipe before he came out?
that one, not good. Not good. And you're right. Ultimately, the press conference doesn't matter, but the Cowboys situation, it wasn't the coach. It was the
Yeah.
owner and GM who makes all the personnel decisions, which Cowboys fans have to be going, oh my gosh, we're never going to the playoffs. We're
I
never
think
like,
they're probably used to it at this point though, right? Cowboys fans?
you think they're just unfazed. But
Unfazed.
this is the thing. When when you hire a new coach, I think as an NFL fan or as a college fan, you just want to feel hope. You just want to feel a little excitement
Some stability.
and that's exactly what New England got when they hired Vrabel.
Mm-hmm.
That fan base is ecstatic. Aaron Glenn with the Jets, right? With what he did with that defense in Detroit. Ben Johnson with the Bears, what he's done with that offense in Detroit. Hell, Pete Carroll and John Spytek, they destroyed that opening press conference. The energy was just, you could feel it.
And
Liam
then the
Cohen.
Saints,
I don't know. What? Kellen Moore?
I don't know what they're going to do. That's what it's looking right? Kellen Moore. They've had a bunch of guys kind of turn their nose up and say no thanks.
But Cowboys fans had to just see that and go, what are we doing?
What are we doing, guys?
What is
Come on.
happening?
That's
I
funny.
mean, Jerry Jones, to say he mishandled that press conference would be quite the understatement. And in a weird way, watching that unfold, it makes me hope Brian Schottenheimer goes out there and crushes it.
Yeah, sometimes you don't know, man. And there's big names, big hires where you feel like, you like New England going with Vrabel. Like it's the easy way to go. You feel like it's solid, it's stable. But, all the best coaches had their first opportunity, and who knows what people thought about it in those first times they got hired. So you never know.
I I feel for you Cowboys fans. Good luck. Birthday shout outs. Happy first birthday to Jude Fisher.
Happy 27th birthday to Kaylee Cruz.
Happy upcoming birthday to Razine Zaman. Zaman.
Razine
Zaman. That's Zaman.
Razine
Zaman. Zaman. Nailed it.
Yeah.
Razine
good.
Zaman. Also, late
And-
edition. Happy
Okay.
38th birthday to Bad Brad Manning.
All right, Bad Brad. And then a podcast first, asked by Eliza and Anthony Siebold for our addresses. Save the date for their wedding. All right.
They said they have extras. Don't waste the postage on us. Just email us a picture to the Oklahoma Breakdown at gmail.com. And if you do that, there's almost 100% guarantee that my wife will send you a wedding gift. Anything we get from anyone, even if we can't go, like gift giving is that she loves it. It's her favorite thing in the world.
Awesome.
So Seabolts, yeah, send it to, or you can DM it to the podcast Twitter. If you get it to us, you're most likely getting a wedding gift of some sort.
I appreciate that. Thank you for thinking of us. That's awesome.
I'm guessing the wife is forced to listen to the podcast quite a bit.
Gunpoint. You
Elisa,
the whole
Elisa,
thing.
Elisa, Elisa.
Yeah, what did I say?
I don't remember what you said. It's got to be one of those, right?
Yeah.
We'll call her E.
Alyssa? That's a double S.
Alyssa. Ooh.
Alyssa's a double S, isn't it?
Yeah, and doesn't Alyssa start with an A? How are we here? How'd we get here? What's happening?
I don't know.
Seabolts, congratulations. And yeah, just email it to us or DM it to us. And then I'll let my wife do her thing.
Awesome.
She's been really into baking sourdough lately. Maybe you're going to get a loaf of fresh
That
sourdough.
must be the hot thing because that's my sister's doing that as well. Which keep it up. Keep sending it my way. Love it.
My bread intake has increased 10,000% over the last couple of weeks. It's not
Mine
good.
is typically 2 parts butter, 1 part sourdough toasted. Ah, it's awesome.
This podcast needs to end. What's happening? Episode 497 in the books. We'll have a new podcast that'll drop on Sunday. Just a reminder, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure you check out our website, okbreakdown.com, for all of our stuff in one spot. Hope you all have a great rest of your week. Have an awesome weekend. And until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening. Do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.